to another amazing episode. This time we got a special guest who's about to drop some gems and help y'all secure the bag. Make sure y'all join the conversation by going to the
m4show.com.
Yes, ma'am. And of course, make sure y'all follow us on Instagram at
The M4 Show.
Queen. Should they like and subscribe or something?
Most definitely. You should definitely go do that like right now.
Yes, make sure y'all like and subscribe on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever you are listening to this episode. We appreciate you. It's free, so go ahead and do it. And it is your first move on being a millionaire. Now, let's get into it.
Let's do it.
Let's introduce our guest for today. This whole weekend has been, I think, a very visionary, foundation laying, empowering, wealth building, galactic weekend, Sinclair.
Yes.
For the folks that are watching or listening, welcome back to the Melanated Married Millionaires in the Making show. My name is Truvel, creator of Black Wall Street, the board game, and of course, I have my beautiful, my smiling, my locked up queen herself. Please introduce yourself.
What is up, everybody? My name is Sinclair, aka the Health Nerd.
Mm-hmm.
And yes, you are absolutely correct. It has been it's a very powerful weekend.
It has. If you're watching on YouTube, you see the vibe is different. We are currently in Atlanta. We were filming for the Bank on It series. Shout out to Ben, aka Be Conscious, and the whole R Pilot team. Really good conversation.
Yeah.
Literally about building wealth for the Black family, Black community. Literally about how can we build communities and cities and neighborhoods. It was just ridiculous talk. So very, very honored to be a part of that. Yes, Queen.
And don't forget another very important part of the conversation: drums versus flats.
Yes, that's the part that she cared about. What side are you on?
You already know I'm team flats. Come on. What other team?
I know, yeah. I'm working on her. It's team drums. That's gonna be the question we're gonna ask our guests. We do have an amazing melanated married millionaire. I'm not gonna count their pockets in the making. Amazing couple. Y'all gotta introduce them in a second. We're gonna tap in. It's gonna be a dope episode. I'm gonna try not to fall into the rabbit hole.
Yeah,
I feel like this can easily be a 2-hour episode. Easily. I'm gonna try my hardest, Queen. I promise you, I'm gonna try my hardest.
We can have them back. Just keep that in mind.
We can.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am. Okay. But before we get into it officially, Queen, can you please hit the folks with the did you know?
Yes, I can. Did you know that drinking coffee first thing in the morning on an empty stomach can actually increase your body's stress response, increase your cortisol levels, and lead to adrenal fatigue?
That's bad.
That's bad. That's bad. You don't want that.
Yeah, I was just double checking. I was like, this doesn't sound like a good thing.
No, it's not. Okay. No, it's not. So cortisol is a stress hormone. I've mentioned that a few times in other Did You Knows. And although it is a necessary hormone and a necessary response, what we don't want to do is increase the body's need to produce it. Because if you think about a bank account, I know we're going to talk about credit in today's episode. Right. If you think about a bank account and you have a set amount of money, aka cortisol, and each day you're going to withdraw a little bit of that to carry you through the day. You don't want to have to spend more than you need to, right? So drinking coffee on empty stomach is like, instead of taking out $100, you got to take out $105. Which, $5 doesn't seem like a lot, but if you do that for 30 years, every single day, you're going to drain your bank account. And once that bank account is drained, bad things can happen. You start going into overdraft. Your body starts breaking down to provide credit, right? Some energy for you, but it's actually breaking down your body to produce that energy. And so you don't want that, right? You do not want that.
No.
So a little hack. If you are one, I know sometimes, especially if you got kids, you may just be getting up and the first thing you need is coffee because you're tired. I understand that. However, drinking or eating just a small snack, a glycemically balanced snack, which could be like some almonds, right? Something that's not going to spike the blood sugar really high. So some almonds, something with, proteins and fats, and then follow it with your coffee can help it decrease that cortisol response to the coffee. So I know I'm not going to tell you to just stop drinking coffee because I know that can be.
You'll get some people fighting.
I know. I'm like, please don't come for me. Yeah. Just eat a little snack before you drink the coffee. That can make a very big difference and keep that nice adrenal response that we all need in case we're in danger nice and healthy. Keep your bank account of cortisol nice and healthy.
Beautiful. I do want to just highlight that you said donut.
Did I say
You
donut?
did. It was great. Donuts. Like you want a donut, don't you?
I always want a donut.
Freudian. Yeah, nice little slip. I also want to give you props for connecting the Did You Know to economics and wealth today.
Thank you.
Listen, I'll give you props. I know I give you some slack sometimes, but I give you
do.
props when props is due.
Thank you.
You did your thing. Another group of folks that are doing their thing are this week's sponsor, Hercules Custom Concrete. All right, as you know, Black History or Black Awareness Business Month. Black Business Awareness Month. There we go. Was in August. So what we did a shout out to Black businesses, specifically within the IE, and we're like, hey, we want to give you promo, so go ahead and let's build that relationship. So one of the people that reached out was the Hercules Custom Concrete folks. Who what do they do, Queen? Go ahead and let folks know what the Hercules Custom Concrete people do.
Jayed, if you could please bring their mission statement up for me. Thank you very much. Hercules Custom Concrete provides custom landscape creations for both indoor and outdoor settings. Whether you need stamped patio, whether you need a custom pool deck, or even a driveway extension, they got what you need. So make sure you tap in.
Boom. HerculesCustomConcrete.com. Go ahead and get yourself a quote and tell them the M4 show sent you. Now, without further ado, I want to get into this amazing discussion, right? You talked about credit earlier. You talked about concrete laying, having a strong foundation when you're building your business and building your family empire. And I think this amazing melanated couple is an example of people who are out there building a empire for themselves, passing down assets to their kids, but not only doing it for themselves, being willing to share that knowledge with other people, which I definitely love. So we have Denisha and Chris Colbert, the Queen and King Colberts, coming up to the stage. But without further ado, Queen, let's get into the episode. Over 50% of Black Americans are unmarried, and only 2% of Black families in America have a net worth over $1 million.
We are on our journey to not only join that 2%, but grow that 2%.
Facts. I'm Devon Truvel, creator of Black Wall Street, the board game, with my beautiful co-host.
I'm Sinclair, aka the Health Nerd.
And welcome to the M4 Show. Bring them out, bring them out, bring them out. There they go. How we living over there, family?
We're blessed, man. Cool.
Hello.
That's a fact. That's a fact. First off, I believe we missed out on your anniversary, which was a few weeks ago, right? So happy belated, amazing, beautiful anniversary to you all.
Thank you. And we celebrated 20 years, man.
20 years. Come on. What's the? I gotta ask. What's the secret to 20 years of beautiful Black love?
What we got?
Ooh, forgiveness, reconciliation, and willingness.
Love that.
I'd agree with those, as well as communications, massages.
Real massages, not that.
Intimacy, as well as taking some vacations, much needed.
Yes.
Oh, okay. Let's talk a little bit of vacation
talk. My language.
Yeah, I already knew you would love that. What's been the most fun vacation y'all been on, or eye-opening vacation that y'all been on?
Got a lot. For our 20th, we were in Jamaica. Prior to that was what? Hawaii?
Everywhere.
Yeah.
I feel like right now Jamaica's at the top of the list, but at the end of this month might take the cake.
Where are you going?
We're going to Egypt.
Oh, the motherland.
Come on.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
I just cruise down the Nile.
Oh, yeah, that's on my dad's bucket list.
Yeah.
Cruise down the Nile. So hopefully you go, you enjoy it. Let us know any tips you got when you come back. So we're definitely going to be making that move as well.
Absolutely.
Now, my nosy question is, how many of these vacations end up being amazing business trips versus how many are just 100% vacations? I pay for this person.
So every trip is a business trip. Truth be told, that honestly, not that we're necessarily looking for any potential tax write-off at the moment, but we handle business accordingly. However, the very last trip, it was done in moderation.
Okay. Okay. I'll let you know that is a struggle that I'm not gonna say that I
Thank you.
will struggle with, and I see you, Denisha. It's gonna be a struggle that I deal with a little bit, where I'm like, all right, if we're gonna go somewhere, this is gonna be a business trip. We're gonna write it off. We're gonna do some work. We're gonna record some content, and then the queen over here is like, no.
I don't say no. The thing is just, I just want one trip to unplug. That's what I want.
Mhm.
That's
Yes.
just one a year. Just give me one a year where I don't have any business responsibilities. We ain't got a podcast to record.
Mhm.
Which, I mean, I feel like this is kind of in our groove. So this is less
good.
taxing than it used to be when we first started. I was like, oh my god. But yeah, I do really. We have different personality styles, and if y'all have listened to the podcast, we've explained this even in the last couple episodes. But he's like a grind. He gets energy from grinding, if that's even
Oh.
possible.
I got one of those.
Girl, I know. I empathize.
Yes.
I need a break.
Wow.
I need a break. I need time to unplug so I can charge my battery and then continue.
Mhm.
So we're
Yes.
different species.
Introvert here. I feel you.
Literally, I'm like, sometimes I just need to literally go and close the door and
Yes, my soul sister. Yes.
yes. So I've given him an allowance of work time he can do.
On vacation.
I say you have until 11 a.m. because I'm unlikely to plan anything before that anyways, because I want to sleep in. So you have until 11 a.m. to do what you want. You can wake up at 5 and do a whole work day for all I care. Don't wake me up and be ready to go at 11. That's my verse.
You about to say something, Anisha?
No, I like that. That's a good idea. I kind of did that to him in Mexico. Like, you got 2 meetings. That's it. But yes, I like that.
Yep. Got to give him these men allowances.
Got to, but we're building the empires here, whether it's here or we're in Jamaica, in Mexico. The work, the grind continues. So I want to kind of get it started with talking about business credit, right? And I know there's a lot of stuff that y'all have done with business credit, but if y'all don't mind, kind of just for people, if this is their first introduction to what business credit is, can you just break down what business credit is and how do you even get it? How do you establish it?
So business credit is non-existent for the most part if there is no personal credit, right? There are ways to gain access to business funding. Business credit is ultimately where your business is afforded the opportunity to leverage someone else's money, OPM, other people's money, right? But to truly maximize the amount of business credit any company can get, the person is going to personally guarantee for their particular business, but they have to have great personal credit in order to do so.
Okay, right? So there's levels. Yeah. First, step 1, secure your personal credit, and then step 2, once you have strong personal credit, how do you then establish business credit?
So the first thing I would tell anyone is to make sure that their business is structured properly. A few things to think about: having a website, of course, having a business phone number, having some kind of commercial building or a virtual address for their particular business, or even having a registered agent that you can utilize their address, right? Getting your EIN number, setting up your Secretary of State, whatever state you decide to do business in. If it's virtual, you have options. If you're doing business virtually, 100% solely, or even 90% or 80%, then you have options in which state you're going to pretty much get your business recognized in. Another thing is actually getting a domain where you can say, my business is Rich Before 50, and then I have richbefore50.com as my website, right? Or .net or .org. Those are other alternatives, but generally in someone's search engine, they're looking for a .com, right? So being able to have the domain. And then after that is ultimately setting up a business bank account. When you start talking about using other people's money, you have to have a relationship with those other, with the banks that are going to give you the money. And so typically I get from clients, what's the best bank to get, Chris? Or they'll call me Rich because that's my Instagram name. And I say,
not bad, go by.
Right.
You can call me Rich.
Call me Rich is good. But I would tell anybody, you want to start on a local level because they have an exclusive amount of people that they can target to and that they can lend money to. And so if you have a local credit union, they can't loan to somebody, 2,000 miles away. They can only loan to that community, right? So find a local bank that offers business line products or business loan products, right? Secondary to that is then go find a regional bank like your U.S. banks or your PNC or banks that are, covers a large region. And then you can attack those national banks. Yep.
So I want to give folks, so after they've done that, let's say, I know we have some people who are maybe just beginning and they're going to go follow those steps. They're going to get their employee identification number. They're going to open up their bank accounts. But there are some people who are like, okay, I got that, but I don't know what's next, right? And I've been seeing these videos, Chris or Rich. I've been seeing these credit card play videos. We're doing some dope stuff. Can you give someone maybe just one introductory credit card play that they can do within business?
Right. So if you have on average a 700 to 800 plus credit score, I'd say on average 700, but they have people that are approved for less, right? If you have that structure that we talked about in terms of having your business structured properly, and there are a few more steps as well, but like getting a DUNS number, there's a lot of other things you can do between those steps. But if you can do that and you have all of these steps done where your business is structured properly in a website, I would say go to American Express. Those are one of the tier 1 banks, right? Or tier two, right? And you literally can apply for 6 business credit cards on one and get one inquiry, hard inquiry.
For the same business?
Yep, for the same business. Cool part about American Express, you can go back into the portal with a totally different business and run 6 more cards. And then that'll be your second inquiry.
Play. I didn't know that.
No.
I'm about to get some for that other business that we just all right, cool.
Well, before you apply or anybody decides to apply for American Express, I have some links on my site in which we both get reward points. It's an affiliate program.
Let's go.
So I'll send you the link, or you can get the link from Devon or Sinclair, and we'll be good to go.
Oh yeah, let's do it. And that is CobertUniversal.com.
Yep, that's the website, CobertUniversal.com.
Boom, it's right there. Go ahead and head there and search for the links. And if you're watching on the replay, we'll make sure to have the links inside of the comments. But on one side of your beautiful empire, right, you have Chris helping people secure business funding. I think on the other side of that empire, we have Denisha, who's working on, for what I've heard, government contracts, and you help people actually secure like business, right? It's one thing to have credit. And I think a lot of people they get the credit, but then in order to really utilize credit and grow your business, you need consistent customers. So can you please just educate folks on what government contracting is and how they do business with the government?
Yeah, absolutely. So government contracting is really selling to the government. The government is the biggest buyer of so many different things. And so people, look at sam.gov, that's the federal government, but a lot of times people bypass their state government or their city and county government. And so they buy things like paper products, janitorial services, notary services. So what I did is I kind of just browsed their websites to see what kind of services they bought and decided to start a janitorial business. And so what I do is the services that I sell to the government is janitorial services, not just the government, but customers like our municipalities, like our Pacific Gas and Electric, our energy companies, our water companies. They all contract out for those services. And they're oftentimes multiple year contracts. And if you have certain certifications like minority owned, disabled veteran owned, those are certain contracts that are set aside for us. So you have preference on those contracts. And so I'm a small business, veteran owned, minority owned, woman owned. So that's a subset of contracts that I have access to that others may not.
How does one determine which one of those to go for, or because there you got small business, like if you are a women-owned business, if you're a minority-owned, is there any one of those that seems to get better contracts than the other, or seems to have more leverage than the others?
I can't say that there's any one, but there are sometimes contracts that are set aside for just small business. That's a lot of people, and depending on what government level you're at, that might be under 250,000. It might be under 500,000 that you're making. So I say go for all of the contracts go for all the certifications that you qualify for. So I'm checking every box that I qualify for, and I go down their list and I say that. So for example, state of California, they rate you on percentages. So they might say, okay, if it's veteran owned, we'll give them an extra 10% in our scoring. If it's also small business, we'll give them an extra 5%. So all of those certifications just rack up my percent and gives me a better chance of getting that contract. So go for all of them. That's the short answer.
All right.
And then I know in government contracting, sometimes you need to submit an RFP, request for proposal. Can you talk about, I think that's the hurdle that a lot of people have to get over, and maybe they're not used to writing proposals. They don't know what number to put on that proposal. I don't know if you have any tips or success stories for some of your early RFPs.
It can be very intimidating, but I'd say you eat an elephant one bite at a time. So most of the times, these proposals are 50 pages long, and I'm going to say read every single page. I'm a nerd. I kind of enjoy that stuff. I know I'm a nerd, but read every single page, because there's consequences when you miss things, which means you can be put on the failure to comply or failure to perform or produce list, which means you cannot get contracts for a period of time. But what you do is just read them, and they tell you what they need from you. So, for example, I just won a contract, and they wanted a green company. I don't coin myself as green, but when you read the fine print, it just says you have to use certain EPA-approved products. Okay, I got that. I have those on my shelf right now. So yes, technically, I meet the qualifications, and so it's just reading. So they said provide a list of that. Provide a list of your services and how you produce. So really, it's just reading, and they tell you what to put together.
Gotcha.
And if you need help, I can certainly be a resource, but really they tell you what they want to see. And what I've done is I've built my own proposal based on the contracts that I've gone after. Even the ones that I didn't win, I still learned something from them. And now I have a proposal where, for example, I walked into a clubhouse the other day and talked to them about services. They don't require an elaborate proposal, but you best believe I have one already ready to go. Take out some names, plug in theirs, and put in a number. And it's going to look better than most because the kind of innate training that I've received over the course of government contracting.
Love it.
Shout out to the detail-oriented, analytical minds. Look. Yes, love it, love it. We all have our gifts and strengths.
Facts.
And I think that sometimes, especially for if you've got a partner that's on the other side of the spectrum, it definitely can be polar opposites sometimes.
Yep.
But at the end of the day, like, we both have our strengths. Y'all clearly both have your strengths that definitely both help you get to the bag. So I love that. I love to see it. Right.
Yeah. My yang.
Yes, yes. And you both have your niches, which is a great segue to my next question is, how much of the work that you do is together, and how much of the work as you do is kind of focused and concentrated on your separate niches, credit, government contracts, etc.?
So I think the majority of our work is separate, but like the collaboration happens like at night. So like I just went out for a bid, and I talked to him about the numbers, and he was like, no, make these tweaks and changes. And that was our collaboration. And the next message he got from me was like, they accepted the bid. He's like, the numbers that I gave you? Yes, the numbers you gave me. And he's not that in the weeds on it, but he's like, no, you got to make a little tweak here. And can I just say one more thing? The piece that I feel like I add to him is I am the risk mitigator. So when he brings me something, I tend to poke holes in it, or I see all of the risks. So I try to help him plug those. And sometimes that works good.
We add value on several occurrences where she's really not even acknowledging the value that she's adding when she does that, as well as when we converse. I mean, and so she doesn't have to necessarily be heavy into the credit space because I got that, right?
Mm-hmm.
And she feels comfortable with that piece, right? And as well as like, you know, her managing for her, which, you know, working a 9 to 5 for, you know, tons of years, she's managed staff and managed people and managed contracts and managed policies. So a lot of times when I, you know, if it's documents or even if it's something in regards to some type of investment deal, if I know for sure she's going to fine tooth comb, go through and read and say, hey, if she doesn't know something, she's going to go look it up. And she's going to say, hey, did you check this out? Did you see what this says? Oh, well, we need to cover our, you know, with X, Y, and Z and various different transactions. And so we bounce a lot of things by each other. And then most recently, we just been literally like pouring, like at nighttime, like she said, like pouring all of our business ideas, dumps before we go to bed. And then, you know, we'll get back to, you know, what the solutions are or what our next actionable items are for that particular thing. But, you know, thank you. I mean, you.
Come on. Yeah.
That's our meeting of the minds at night.
Yeah.
I feel like you got a different type of pillow talk as entrepreneurs. As
It's
entrepreneurial.
Really talk. Yeah.
Right. It's kind of sexy.
A little bit.
Oh.
Hey, she got that laptop out looking at policies. That's
Yeah.
like what?
It's different.
You're your hard drive, girl.
It's different.
Oh my goodness.
But you know, on the flip side of that, I think, you know, it is difficult sometimes to balance that, right? Any tips that y'all have for pillow talking entrepreneurs like us over here, where it's like, you know what? I know it's Thursday. I don't want to pillow talk about real estate. I don't want to talk about LLCs. Like, compliment my hair tonight or something else.
Okay.
Like, how do you find that nice balance between being ambitious, being visionaries, building wealth for your families, but still loving on each other as individual people?
Yeah. Well, he kind of said it at the beginning, like vacation, we try to make time to disconnect and like fully be into each other on vacations. And I think giving each other permission to remind the other when you're not balancing. So like sometimes I might be like, okay, you're giving people too much access to you right now. It's okay to say, hey, I'm at dinner with my wife, or, you know, hey, I'll call you after we get done watching a movie or something. And so I feel like we give each other permission to say that.
Yeah, I like that. You're giving people too much access right now.
Yeah.
Right.
I might have to steal that one from you.
She's going to. I guarantee it right now.
I've been saying like, oh, you on my time, like, but that's a more eloquent way to put it.
Yeah, you get too much access.
Too much access.
Okay. I want to get back to something that's kind of, I don't know actually who's leading this part, but I know y'all are invested in real estate.
For sure.
How do y'all partner in real estate? Is that one person? Is that a co-op situation? And then want to talk about leveraging credit or strategies to buy your first investment property?
So I'll take this on in terms of response. But about 4 years ago or so, was working at a pretty nice job, making about $100,000 and some a year. And she afforded me the opportunity to say, hey, you know, real estate has always been something we wanted to invest in, because we got our first glimpse when we sold our first house. We bought a house in 2008. I think we paid about 200-some thousand for it. And then we sold it for like 3 something. I forget the amount, but ultimately we saw a large amount of money to pretty much be able to do some things, to pay off some debt, to feel, you know, be able to get some stuff off your back, breathe a little bit better. And then so it was kind of like you get a little taste of something. You like, you know what, this might be where we need to be. And so she said she was 100% supportive. And then we decided that I was no longer going to work for a company anymore, right? And so,
what year was that?
That was 2018, 19.
Probably 18.
Yeah. And so we literally was like, we're going to do this thing, right? And so outside of her just having me like do all of the research, because neither one of us had really took any real serious classes on real estate, but we had in our mind that I knew the Cleveland, Ohio market, because that's where I was born and raised. And so she would send me so many properties that were like 10,000, 20,000. You know, a lot of these
7,700.
7,700. Yes, that was one property, and so her comfort level was totally different from mine. Like we know that about each other. Like we're gonna be real moderate, and we're gonna be risk averse, and we're going to buy a few little $2,000 properties versus you going all in, Chris, and buying this $100,000 property. So I said, okay, so how do we meet in the middle, right? So we bought a $7,700 property, right? Now, what was so crazy about what she sent me, she had no clue about the Cleveland area. I knew about the Cleveland area. She found a property that was like in like where they're doing 100% gentrification. They're doing like all of this new development for a Cleveland Clinic, which happens to be like number one. But I think they go battle between UC Davis and all these other large health, major health hospitals or whatever. But in the Cleveland market, if you know somebody that gets a job by Cleveland Clinic, they have either traveling doctors and traveling nurses because that's like they're in the top 10. I'll just say that. But people want to live in that area, right? They don't want to live nowhere else around the hood, but that is the hood, so to speak. But they want like in a 1 to 2 mile radius of this particular hospital. And then they also have John Carroll College as well as University Circle. So there's a lot of developments in that area, right? But that was like one of the first properties she sent me. And I'm like, this house is beat to crap. But the area was phenomenal because upon entry, somebody that looks at from an investor standpoint can say, you know what, we can renovate this property and we could possibly make a large amount of money and get even a tax abatement because that's some of the things that they're offering for people that work for the hospital.
And it was an
opportunity zone as well. And she didn't she just was sending me properties and it was like, wow, you really gave me an actual gym and didn't know it was a gym. And so we bought that property and we didn't do anything to that property, by the way. We held that property for probably 2 or 3 years.
No renovation, nothing? Just
no, nothing. Like it literally just stayed in our inventory. And we sold it without doing any work to it for I think $15,000. Yeah, sold it for $15,000. But in terms of where we made some substantial impact in terms of doing real estate was our fix and flip properties that we've done. On average, we're averaging about $70,000 per flip. This one that we're in escrow with right now, we had another partner. That's going to throw off our average, but nevertheless, we have conversations. We lost money in real estate, and she was there to console me. She talked me off the ledge. I was ready to tear up a house. I was ready to tear up a house. I did all of the renovations. I was due to come home like the next day or a couple of days later, and that was
the next morning.
And there was a plumbing leak. Like everything is like ready to be on the market. Like everything's done, and there's this leak, and it's coming through the walls, and you're like, you got to be kidding me.
Yeah.
So we was on the phone probably if it was like 2 or 3 o'clock my time in Ohio, I think it was probably 11 here. Yeah.
And what happened with that one? Like it got fixed up. You were able to.
We fixed that property. We rented it out to upstairs, downstairs. Made probably about 1,200 times 12. That's what 14,000, so to speak, on rental income. And then we sold it and made a profit of about $50,000 off that property.
Nice.
How do y'all determine when to fix and flip something and when to hold it for the cash flow?
So I've taken a completely different approach, and she's 100% supportive, as we said. My goal is to develop on raw dirt, and what made me want to go into this area is because we had acquired about 30 acres of land, right?
Come on.
So,
where you got 30 acres at?
30 acres is split between California, Texas, and Ohio. So we've got 18.65 in Calaveras County. We've got about 5 in 29 Palms, which is San Bernardino County. And then we have 2 acres in Edwards, California, which I believe is Kern County, I believe. Then we've got some about 7 acres, I think, in Texas that borders the Mexico border in a city or town called Hudspeth.
And
Texas.
we raffled off the land in Arizona.
Yeah, one of our fraternity brothers,
off land.
Phi Beta Sigma. One of our fraternity brothers, we literally was like, you know, we don't really want to have the land in Arizona. We had about 2 acres in Holbrook, Arizona, and we did like an online auction type of deal with just people that would follow me on Instagram on our Cobra Universal page, and we actually paid $1 for this land.
Wow.
But that was probably years ago, probably 5-6 years ago. We paid $1 plus the taxes, which was like $600. So it was like $601 for this particular plot of land. It's about 2 acres. And we set up a process where we would kind of auction it off. And throughout that process, we made, I think, $3,000 total for the auction. We gave $1,000 to a local nonprofit that helps people to get their lives back together and get jobs and be employable, etc. And then the remaining $2,000, we just rolled that right into that Kern land at Edwards, California.
Love it. So one day on each of these plots, you want to go ahead and build up apartment buildings, a house,
or a mobile home community where we continue to get the lot lease throughout the duration of our lives, and our children and their children's children, and our children's children's children.
Come on, legacy.
How do you determine where are the best places to buy land? Because you all are based in California, but you've mentioned plots of land kind of all over the place.
Yeah.
What are you doing research? Like how do you figure out like this is going to be land that is profitable?
So for me specifically, we caught a gym because I was in the military. So we caught a gym ages ago, probably about 2002, 2003, that if you get something around a military base, that whether it's a fix and flip or a buy and hold, meaning you got renters, or if you're developing it around that area, it's almost a gym. Like it's almost a given that somebody, the military, will continue as long as that base is going to stay open. At some point, somebody's going to need housing around that area. Yeah. Some people may stay and decide to reside in that particular area. I was in Killeen, and I was seeing these other people buy these plots of land and put these fourplexes up. And then I was seeing young people that was in the military, that was in my unit, buying fourplexes. And I was like, listen, this is the move right here, right? And so when God afforded us the opportunity to kind of buy stuff, I was like, so my land in 29 Palms is literally like 15 minutes away from the Marine base. The Edwards, California, it's literally by Edwards Air Force Base. The plot of land in Calaveras County just happen to be a pretty good deal, and it's rural residential. And I know it's literally an hour and a half from where we live. So like in the event, my wife, she doesn't really want to live there, but in the event we build a large house, we went to a house yesterday that was probably on about 10 to 15 acres. And they literally had multiple dwellings, a vineyard.
Come on.
Can I add something to your question?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So just for people who might be listening and they're thinking about buying land and trying to figure out how to assess if it's where it's good to buy, even if you don't see the value in it, someone else might. So I'll say this. Whenever we buy land, immediately people start sending us letters to buy that land. So for example, we bought land for $1, $601. I could guarantee you throughout the year, we receive multiple letters and offers of people trying to buy that. Now they can see the record to see how much you paid, so they may lowball you, but that number goes up over time. And so all it takes is the military deciding that they want to build out, or another developer saying that they want to erect some houses. So you might sit on it for 3 years, pay a little bit of taxes every year, and then boom, somebody sends you an offer that you can't resist. So I would say if you can buy it, if the price is right, you don't have to have the mindset of like, what can I build today? Maybe just some forethought. Let me sit on it, hold it. Can I afford the yearly taxes on it? And somebody else might see value in it. And my husband always says they're not making any more land.
Nope.
So if it's out there, you can buy it, buy it.
And I'll give everybody a little gem where I've been able to buy my land, bidding on the land that we've acquired, is a website called bid4assets.com. Bid4assets.com.
There it is, bid4assets.com. They have
just don't bid against me because I'm really aggressive.
You ain't gonna win against Rich.
And read the fine print. Because
Yes.
I remember you almost want to bid on something, and I forgot what it was. He didn't read, and he probably didn't come to me, and somebody outbid him, and it worked out in our favor.
It did. It was like I was bidding on. It was like I was bidding on the opportunity to bid again or something. It was something weird with when you read and I was glad somebody outbid me on that because I literally was like, oh, this is dope. I'm gonna get this. And
probably somebody else who wasn't reading. So read.
Gotcha.
That was God looking out for you there.
That's definitely going to be me. I've been on Bid for Assets, and I think I almost won like a gas station. That's where it was a gas station. It wasn't like up and running, but it was an abandoned gas station in between Riverside and Las Vegas. So I was like,
wow,
this gas station, I could renovate it up. It could be a nice little diner spot. Renovated to be a Tesla recharging place instead of a gas station. But I didn't win that one.
That would be amazing.
Yeah.
Thank you. You know, I'm about to go back on. I've been on that website a minute. I was like, forget it after I lost that gas station, but I'm about to go shopping.
Yeah.
Yeah. So one thing I would add to that, like she was talking about, how do you identify land? So a couple cool parts about land is you want to see if it's already a developed community around that land, right? Because 9 times out of 10, if it's already development somewhere around there, you're going to probably have city access to your utilities like city power, city water, sewer systems, stuff like that, right? Yeah. Another thing to look for is if you have the opportunity to sit on some of these city council meetings, any new development, like where it says like Tesla's coming to, or Amazon's coming to, or they're trying to put a Starbucks, or, like there are some signs that they write on the wall that says that this is a new and upcoming area that you may want to find a nice plot of land on. And then you can, if you have access to it, or if somebody is selling it and the price is reasonable, I would say, and how you determine the price is look at what other people are selling their land for. I mean, the truth of the matter is at some point, maybe 40, 50 years down the road, not a lot of us maybe think we can't even wait that long, right? But if we have children, right, they might have the ability to have some land that their mom or dad bought for $200 or $2,000 that turns into $200,000, right? Mm-hmm. And as my wife said, like there was one plot of land, the one in 29 Palms. I think we paid like $7,000 or $8,000 for that plot of land. It's 5 acres, right? We got letters when we first bought it, and they were trying to lowball us. But I have a letter that I kept on purpose right in my desk where somebody was offering me $15,000. The craziest part about that is there's another person that is selling a similar plot, but smaller, 2 acres, like literally adjacent to where my land is at. And he's selling it for $25,000. So if you look at the numbers, like, and the taxes were minimal. Like I think we're paying like $9 a year in taxes. So, yeah.
Oh, y'all about to have us buy land over here. Okay, we gonna do it.
And I think one thing that I want to highlight what you said is like going to the city council meetings, doing your research. At the end of the day, I think a lot of people's hesitation when getting into real estate, but more specifically like investment properties or any type of investment real estate, is like not knowing or being scared that it's gonna not be profitable or they're gonna lose money in that investment. And although yes, when we can't control what the market does, But I think that research, where you can absolutely do that research, and should absolutely do that research ahead of time, right? So we have our spot in LA, which is probably something a lot of people would never do, because it's like, it's LA, it's expensive, et cetera, et cetera. But we did our research, right? We did our research, and it's an area that he's familiar with because he grew up in it. And we also, did research on what was going on in the area. And we saw like, oh, they just put in a proposal to build for an arena. Oh, they just put up a proposal to do this and do that. And we were like, okay, this is probably going to be worth significantly more in a few years. And that's exactly what we're seeing. And so it's like, yes, we were a little bit nervous. I was a little bit nervous to make that investment. But at the end of the day, it's paid off. And I don't mean like it's paid off. That would be amazing.
No, it's not paid off.
No. I don't mean it's physically paid off, but I mean like the investment is working in our favor at least so far, right? Because we did that research, and now we got the Rams stadium, which we did not see coming, but or not stadium, the headquarters that's coming over there. So it's been all you have to do is do a little bit of research and figure out, like you said, whether it's a military base, a school, a community, right? Typically, this trend is that things are going to expand. Right? Because there's only more people being born. There's only more people looking to go to more affordable communities, right? Leaving the metropolitan cities and going to more rural areas. So I think if you know that, if you know the trend, if you know human behavior, you can use that to your benefit and invest wisely in that way.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. All right. So I know y'all been taking questions. I want to give y'all a little bit of a break. We're going to enter into our Ask Declare segment, right? So if you all have any questions for us, whether it's business questions, love questions, or health questions for the health nerd, y'all can shoot it our way, and give y'all a little bit of a break.
Ask them a question.
How long have you two been married?
Wait.
We've been married just over 3 years. We just celebrated our 3-year anniversary on July 7th. And to Big Bear had a little mini vacay.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Thank you. We gonna get to 20 eventually. We go catch up. We'll never catch up, but we'll get to 20.
So he kind of pulled me into the entrepreneurship space. Who was the one out of the two of you? Okay.
Same thing. I feel like it's when you have those personalities.
Yes. That's why I still have my 9-to-5 job, but I do enjoy this side. But he kind of pulled me into space.
Oh, yeah.
Same. Mm-hmm. He started I never even considered entrepreneurship as an option, truthfully. I was just in my immediate family, that's not something that's prevalent. So it was always just go to college and get a good job. So that's what I did. And he kind of made the leap. Well, he didn't make the leap, but he started his business first, or the business, True Health Forever. We started that together, but he kind of launched the first product and really parented that thing, that baby, and brought me in to really foster it. And we're really at a good place now where we're actually working together, which is nice. Mm-hmm. But he totally, I think, pioneered the entrepreneurship life for us. And kind of, through our visionary talk, I was thinking, like, what if we both worked for ourselves?
Yeah.
And I was like, Like, he really just kind of posed that question, and we would talk about what that life would look like. Like, I would talk about man, when we have kids, I don't know, I had some hesitancy about having to go on maternity leave and then come back. That process always made me feel I don't know if I'm gonna want to come back. And the company I worked for, it only gave me 6 weeks. So I'm 6 weeks is not enough. I always imagined myself being able to really be there for our children when we start our family. So it was that kind of started that conversation. What if we were able to have our own business? We work for ourselves. We possibly work from home. We have our home office, or our own office that we get to go to, and we have our kids with us, right? Mm-hmm. Or we have somebody that can watch the kids, but we determine our schedule. We determine, our work hours. We determine how invested or not invested we are, at these different seasons of our lives. And I was wow.
So real quick, I think for me growing up, I don't think I thought about entrepreneurship and owning my own business, having employees, retirement plan. I didn't get that far, but I think growing up, I always made money creatively on my own because my parents weren't giving me money, right? So I think I had that hustler, that grind mentality growing up that kind of came into college and came into adulthood. And specifically when we started really visioning and manifesting what life we want to live together, I remember my parents always talking and arguing and eventually getting, separated over really money, right? And money was always kind of that root. I spent a lot of time in daycare or at grandma's house because my parents were working, trying to make money. So in my head, I'm like, okay, if we want to have a beautiful, strong, black, melanated family someday, I want to see my kids grow up. I want to see those first steps. I want to go to the basketball games. I want to be that annoying dad in the crowd. Let's go! Like I want to be able to do all that. And I think entrepreneurship, having our own business and having control over our time, like the Queen said, gives us that. And most importantly to me, gives the Queen the opportunity to be stress free while she's pregnant. If she decides that she wants to take care of the child, like she's stress free during that process instead of having to worry about money and the people at her job are annoying her and trying to do like ignorant stuff. Like I'm not having that.
That makes all the difference in the pregnancy, in the healing, the postpartum process, everything.
Yeah, I say.
Oh yeah.
So throwing it back off to y'all, we were just talking about family, right? I don't know if y'all feel comfortable talking about your family unit. I know you got at least one beautiful child over there, but the motivation, the legacy of the Colbert family.
Yeah. So I'll talk about it. So I feel like nothing against the previous generations, but I feel like we have a lot of work to do in the areas of educating our youth, not only just the children that we have, but we have 3 wonderful children, 2 boys that are in college, and my daughter is a junior. But there was a lack in education in regards to financial literacy, leveraging other people's money, investing in the real estate. But it was just like it was like a missed generation, because I think what a lot of people don't know is maybe 2 or 3 generations ago, there was a subset of people that were actually owning multiple real estate that looked like us, right? But then somehow down the lines, it was people doing stuff like bombing, people doing stuff like not knowing to pay taxes, not educating or having conversations with the lineage that's after them in terms of how to operate in terms of keeping the assets and keeping the wealth, right? And so I think for me and my wife both, as far as like moral compass and for as financial stability for our children, we're giving them like full-on exposure into what mom and dad is doing, right?
Yeah.
And not for the purpose of them just getting something and not having to do something for that, right? Because of course, any one of us died tomorrow, our children would be very, very well off, right? But having them understand why things are being set up, right? Why their dad is working towards this trust piece, why dad has these lines of credit, how we can, because one of the questions earlier on was, hey dad, you got this land, what are you gonna do with it? And it's the mind changing of the minds, where also you can show them a piece of paper where they know the numbers make sense. Like, okay, dad paid 7,000 or 8,000 for it. Now somebody want to buy it for 15. These were years ago when you asked about it, but we haven't done anything to this land. we probably saw it once, and literally, like just to understand how things are moving and being able to put together policies and procedures for your children is going to be vital in terms of them being able to carry on the legacy for their children, right?
Oh, yeah.
They're starting at a different point, a different starting line that we did.
Yeah.
So like, I just want to jump in and say this, like, people still glorify the struggle. They glorify getting it out the mud. If we struggled, if we glorified getting it out and got out the mud, there's no reason that our kids need to do that. Because if they got to get it out the mud, we did something wrong.
Yes.
I remember my husband spent a year in Iraq, maybe a little longer than that.
22 months.
Well, I meant like on the contracting side.
Oh, yeah, on the contracting side, 2 months.
And we had some goals But that's a sacrifice that he had to make. There is no reason that our kids should be getting it out the mud, or we failed.
I love that. I love that. I totally agree with that. And we've had even like conversations within family about the concept of like even having kids, or having the expectation that like you have to move out once you reach a certain age. And I even brought up that other communities don't have that expectation, and it gives their children a leg up because now you have a little bit of time, right? You can go to a local college here, you can have a year where you're not paying rent, you can stack up, get your job, stack up, and now you have a nest egg to go out into the world, and things like that. Things like real estate, right? Things like trust that can give our children, the next generations, a leg up. Because I absolutely agree with you. We should not be starting over with every generation. I understand that we all have to gain a work ethic in some way, but that can look different, right? You can do that at any level of wealth, instill that work ethic in your children. And I think it's so important to not have to start over with every generation, because we are never going to be able to catch up, right? Generationally, we're never going to be able to reach this level that I know as a collective people, we all want to go to. But if we're not being strategic about setting up the next generation, and sometimes that means making sacrifices, right? Sometimes that means delayed gratification for the younger generations. Yeah, you can sell this house and get a little bit of money to go and do whatever you want, or you can hold on to it and you maybe rent it out and you still get that cash flow, right? You still winning, but maybe you don't get the $1 million to go and buy a car or whatever else, right? But now you get to pass that asset down to future generations so that they maybe don't have $80,000 of college debt, things like that.
Sounding personal.
And our kids will be able to say without guilt, yes, I'm a trust fund child, I'm a trust fund baby. And my grandkids will be able to say that without guilt. But they'll also be able to say, I understand the inner workings of this building, this business. I know how to do this. And it's amazing when your kids see that, when you see the light bulb come on in your kids, because he was talking to Junior, and I remember him saying, wait, so you paid this and you sold it for that? And it just a light bulb went off, and I just was like, it just clicked there. Yes, absolutely.
I love that.
Can we talk a little bit about the business structure and how you plan to pass down the business to your kids, right? I know we talked a little bit about the trust, but I don't know if you're able to talk about the overall umbrella and how this is a baton that boom, right, here you go, next generation, keep going with this legacy.
Yeah. So ultimately, and this is by far not my area of expertise. However, I am still a student to the true structure of how a Rockefeller or how a Marriott or how a JP Morgan would have, like how people would structure this. But I got the concept right in terms of understanding from some of the literature and some of the people I surround myself with, right? So ultimately is to have the trust, which has policies, procedures, and guidelines in place for all of the other various entities as well as the assets that it owns. And then you have, of course, the entities, your LLCs, your nonprofits, your charitable foundations, other organizations up under that particular entity, right? And then up under that, you have you not owning anything, but doing a lot of the controlling of the assets. And so ultimately where we're going in terms of our life is going to be, there will be a trustee that will be identified, right? And then there will be beneficiaries that will be identified, right? Ultimately, within this structure of the trust, we will have some assets that should be able to be ordained or blessed upon our future generations, right?
Where no one member or one child is in control of it, but they're beneficiaries of the trust. And so for years and years, it's protected, it's secured.
Most importantly, we about to be taxed.
But everyone can reap the benefits off that.
Oh yeah. And then I think in the Rockefeller model, they have the trust as the beneficiary of the life insurance, right? So if you all have life insurance, the instead of the kids getting that cash out, like directly, here's $1 million, here's $2 million. The trust actually gets the $2 million, and then it can then give the money to either the institutions or the children. Is that the structure that y'all also plan to do?
Yes, because it's easy for, well, here's a couple of things. Like if there is proper direction and guidance, and then buy-in of the guidance and direction, then when you're running a relay, the baton truly can be passed off, right? But without the practice, of course, you might fumble the baton, right? And I'm using this metaphorically in terms of if you have a trust setup and the communication is profound and it's understood and it's going to be executionable, right? Where they can execute on this information and instruction. And then they understand it to be able to explain it to their children. And then for their children to be able to do the same. Then you don't always have to put the parameters on a life insurance policy, because the trust has other assets, but the money itself could be like, okay, this is what the trustee is going to do for this one member that doesn't really want to follow the rules. Still our child, still love them, still love them. But they will not have access to the wealth. They may temporarily be rich. You know what happens? Somebody, win the lottery, or a lot of people, they get the money and then they squander it off. But that's okay because you've been paid off. It's okay. Not to say we want to reward bad behavior or even somebody that doesn't want to agree with the system, but you don't have to always operate in terms of saying, okay, my life insurance policy, which is maybe, and you have multiple different, we have multiple policies. So this $1 million policy could be cool for just that one kid. They don't get access to the rest of the stuff.
Yep.
I mean, so I understand the concept, but I mean, putting it into putting the life insurance policy as the trust being the beneficiary of the life insurance policy, that's a cool thing. That's a cool thing. Yeah. That's somebody's direction that they may want to take. I don't necessarily say that we have to take that approach, but that might be what we do.
Got it. Okay. Yeah, we have conversations over here all the time about whether when we have kids, if they have to work for the business, have to be in the company, if they'll have free will and choice. We're on different sides of that, but that's a whole nother.
But I haven't told her what I said was going to be one of the requirements.
Oh, are we gonna air it right now? Yeah, that's a different conversation.
That last name got to be.
Oh, really?
My daughter already said she sees herself having money, but she doesn't see herself working. So if that's a condition,
she ain't going nowhere.
I was like, those two don't match. And then I was in Jamaica, like maybe it does. I see myself having money and not working.
She better hyphenate her. My daughter better hyphenate her last name. I'll say that.
Yep. Keep the legacy. Keep the legacy. But yeah, like you can live in Zanzibar and in Egypt and Costa Rica, Jamaica, and just be very wealthy, very rich, not working at all, living your best life.
Yes.
It was crazy.
You see that?
You say
we see that.
Yeah, you see that all the time. Possibly last question for y'all. Appreciate y'all coming on here and giving us your time on this Sunday. But if you can go back, 20 beautiful years, right? It's the day of your wedding or maybe the day after, and give yourself some nice bit of advice going into the next 20 years, right? You're starting off your strong marriage, how to start off, strong, how to build wealth correctly, but also just how to have that strong foundation together. What would be a message or bits of advice that you would give each other?
Give ourselves or give the other person?
Ooh, that's a good one. Let's go with give the other person. Like Chris, what would you say to Denisha 20 years ago? And then Denisha, what would you say to Chris? I think that's different.
That is different.
Go ahead, you go first.
I would probably say, sit down and let's come up with a game plan. So we got married at 19, and so we had to survive before we started to thrive. So my advice to others would be, don't get married at 19. Get yourself together. You don't know yourself. But we spent a lot of years surviving. And then there was a shift later on because we got married. We had kids right away. And so there wasn't to me an active plan in place.
Right.
You know, I was excited to be a wife. I was looking forward to being a mother. And he didn't know, but I decided in my mind I wasn't working. And I had kids. So it took me 4 years to find a job. But just have a plan. Like, take your time, have a plan, you know, and set up a plan so that you can thrive and not just survive.
If I was to talk to young Denisha, I would say continue to be supportive, continue to believe when oftentimes there was no direction, like you said, and so I didn't know where I was going, but just you having the faith and the belief that we were going to be where we are, even better. I would say thank you. I would say thank you for remaining faithful and true to me, and loving on me the way you do, you know, and promoting.
Come on, y'all better guess. Come on.
Promoting your baby the way you do, touting your baby the way you do, But yeah, I would thank you in advance. That's what I would do if we were, right when we first got married. And then I would also say the best is yet to come. Like, because we, like she said, like we like she's being modest in her response. Like, we were poor. Like, we
bringing home food from the commissary, from the child home.
We were poor. But we made it work. And for somebody to commit themselves to saying, I'm gonna get married, and then like trying to figure it out when saying she's not gonna work, or even just saying, baby, I got you, $1,000 a month. Can anybody that listened to this, like, we were literally making like $1,000 a month, and we had 2 kids at that time. Like that's crazy.
In California.
It's like almost impossible. Yeah. But it was possible. We were able to make it, right?
So staying home was a part of the savings too, because daycare would have costed us all of that.
Right. Yeah. So we improvised, but we grew through, So, for anybody that thinks about potential, I don't know what kind, like, we talk about foresight a lot, but like, for some odd reason, like, she saw. I felt like I was going to be successful anyway, but like, she saw it, because like, I can't recall anybody that would have been like, bro, like, you broke. Like, get out of here.
Yeah. She saw it. She was like, no, you know what? There's something. I don't know what it is, but there's an energy, there's a vibe, and I'm going to rock with you.
Get out of here.
Yeah. I love that. All right. We're about to get into some updates. When we come back, you talked about her, for promoting you and rocking with you. So I want y'all to do a nice promotion. Any business or businesses, links that you want to shout out, promotions, resources. The floor will be yours right after these updates, so that y'all can just get people to tap in with y'all. All right. But yeah, definitely make sure you go to Rich B450 _, on Instagram. Follow, tap in with the wisdom. Queen, updates for the week.
I'm going to, and hopefully I'm not stealing whatever you want to do. Are you going to do Rose and Rodney? Okay. So I guess I will do the weight loss accountability group. So if you are trying to lose weight, you're trying to look for a community that's going to hold you accountable, definitely head to queencoaching.com and join our free weight loss accountability group, where we have women that are just in there holding each other down each week to our goals.
Boom, there it is. And as the Queen was alluding to, we do have a fundraising campaign going on right now to support the Black History Adventures of Rose and Rodney. This is a beautiful book about Rose and her little brother Rodney, who are transported back in time through a magical treasure chest to experience Greenwood in 1914. They go back, they meet Mabel B. Little, they meet O.W. Gurley, they meet Madam C.J. Walker, and we are currently transforming this book into an animated series. But folks, We need your help. All right, we are raising funds. Our goal is to raise $10,000. If or when we raise $10,000, the Drew and Lauren Holiday Foundation will support that match. So head to fundblackfounders.com/play Black Wall Street. That's fundblackfounders.com/play Black Wall Street to support the Rose and Rodney campaign today. I appreciate you. There's the link right there. Click on it, go contribute. And it's not just a donation. Yeah, just go, boom, click. It's not just a donation. You can contribute and actually get rewards. So you can get a book, you can get custom game pieces, you can get signed board games, signed books. We got virtual meetups on there, virtual premieres, possibly in-person premiere. So it's not just a GoFundMe when you're donating, you can actually get physical and digital goods as well. So go ahead and head there and support the dream. Now, passing it back off to the queen and king over there to end us with some amazing resources and make sure that y'all stay tapped in with them. The Rich Before 50 Squad, what you got for us?
Well, first. So our first business is wall-to-wall residential and commercial cleaning. We're here in Sacramento. We service state buildings, office buildings, residential, and retail. So we're currently hiring for cleaners. We don't just hire people to come clean. We actually help you set up your own business so that we can collaborate on contracts. There are $1 million contracts that we can get together. We cannot do it all. So if you're interested in that, you can reach out to us.
What's your website again?
Wall2wallclean.net. And that's the number 2, wall2wallclean.net.
Wall2wallclean.net. If you're trying to start $1 million cleaning business, don't y'all wait. Wall2wallcleaning.net. Hit it up.
Is that right?
Yes.
Okay.
And one more email. You can also reach out directly to me at info@wall2wallclean.net. That's my email directly, and I would love to connect with you.
Beautiful. Thank you.
One part that we didn't discuss, which is, well, we did discuss having a sound personal credit profile in order to gain access to business credit, right? So for anybody that watches this video, if you have inquiries is one of the 5 major factors on your credit report that will actually impact your credit score. So if you DM me the word to my Instagram, DM me the word inquiry removal, and you will get a free 24-hour inquiry removal to get inquiry removals off of your credit profile. Right.
Those DMs.
Let's go ahead and DM this guy right now.
Right. If you also want to gain access, say you got your credit profile good to go and you're ready to get access to some of this money. Some of the clients that I've gotten up to $160,000 for individual clients, and total, I haven't even counted the amount of funding that I've gotten for all of my clients. But if you're ready to locked and loaded, ready to get some of this business funding, all you've got to do is DM me the word funding to my inbox, and you will get a direct link to set up your appointment. Yep. No, 2 words. It'll be inquiry removal, 2 words. But DM me the word inquiry removal. You'll get a 24-hour inquiry removal. And that information will come directly to your inbox. And if you DM me the word funding, you'll get access to my calendar. We can put you on the calendar, set up a 30-minute consultation, and I'll get you right in the system and connect you with some of the bankers I have actually relationships with. Chase, Bank of America, PNC, US Bank, Key Bank. A lot of these major banks I have direct contacts with that can get you upward to $50,000 to $150,000 worth of funding on one particular card, as well as business lines of credit. So hit the link in your DM, follow me on Instagram. I follow back. So,
You do.
yeah.
Here it is. And you have a great system here because I already got a response, y'all. So
Yes.
don't wait, don't hesitate, take action. Go ahead and hit them up. All right. So appreciate y'all. Again, this was really good. This could have went a whole lot longer. Queen, how'd I do?
You did good. But
Thank
clearly, we have so many other things that we could talk about. So
Clearly.
we're gonna have y'all back on the podcast.
It's good.
Love to.
After a good vacation, y'all can come back and
Yes.
teach us about Egypt as well.
Or I
Yes.
teach y'all how to fly to Egypt and have a whole stay in Egypt at no cost to you by leveraging other people's money
Yes.
cash back, and
Points.
flight points, etc. That can be a whole nother segment.
Yes. Literally. Let's do that.
Y'all free on no.
No, but look, round 2
That
is
was it right now.
for real. But yeah, much love. Appreciate y'all. Queen, you good?
I'm great.
You're great. All right, beautiful people. Thank you for tapping in once again to the Melanated Married Millionaires in the Making show. My name is Devon Truvel, creator of Black Wall Street, the board game.
And I'm Sinclair, aka the Health Nerd.
Make sure y'all secure the marriage. Make sure y'all secure the love. And of course, make sure y'all secure the bag. Peace.
Bye.
Thank you for supporting the M4 show and our mission to increase the wealth of Black families.
If you received any value from this episode, any value at all, any, do us a favor and give us a like and subscribe on YouTube and Apple, Spotify, anything, all of them, all of them, wherever you're listening, go ahead and like and subscribe.
And after you like and subscribe, make sure you send this episode to at least one family that you really want to see win. We'll catch y'all next time. Peace.